Good evening, everyone. We're going to call a meeting to order, and we're going to start with the land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge that the ground on which we live is the traditional territory of Caldwell First Nation, of the Three Fires Confederacy, and the original people of Point Pelee and Pelee Island and its surrounding lands and waters, and that of the Huron-Wendat and Wyandot peoples. We recognize and respect the First Nations who are stewards of the land and waters of Turtle Island and who have embraced this stewardship since time immemorial. We would also like to acknowledge contributions of other nearby First Nation communities and all original people across Turtle Island. We will now have a moment of silent reflection, followed by the playing of our national anthem. Please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Okay, we're going to start off with the adoption of our agenda for July 9th, 2024. Can I mover? Moved by Councillor Reno, support Councillor Desjardins. All in favor? And that carries. Any disclosures of community interest? There being none, an adoption of our minutes for the regular meeting of Council held June 25th, 2024. Councillor Burns and Councillor Richo Spagnolo, all in favor? And that carries. Mayor's comments tonight. Happy Tuesday, everyone. As you know, the news is out and the official announcement was made. After careful consideration of several highly qualified candidates, it is with great confidence that I introduce Michael Pierce as our new police chief. Chief Designate Pierce impressed the selection committee with his vision for enhancing public safety, strengthening community relations, and implementing innovative strategies to address the evolving challenges facing law enforcement today. As mayor, I am confident that Chief Designate Pierce will continue to uphold our town's values of integrity, accountability, and transparency within the police department, and I look forward to working closely with him to ensure the safety and well-being of all residents of the town of LaSalle. Chief Designate Pierce will begin with our service on July, I believe it's 29th, with an official swearing-in ceremony to be held in October following Chief Davies' retirement. This is, however, Chief Davies' last council meeting. On behalf of the entire community, we extend our deepest gratitude for your years of dedicated service, not only as our chief, but also as an officer in the town of LaSalle. Your leadership, integrity, and unwavering commitment to keeping our streets safe have left an indelible mark on our town. Under your guidance, our police department has not only upheld the highest standards of law enforcement, but has also fostered a sense of security and trust among our residents. Your efforts have made a profound difference in our community, and we are sincerely grateful for your tireless dedication and your sacrifices, and the sacrifices made by your family. As you embark on this new chapter in your life, please know that your legacy will continue to inspire and guide us. Your leadership has set a benchmark for excellence that will be cherished and remembered for years to come. Thank you again for your service, Chief Davies. We wish you all the best in your well-deserved retirement. And I don't know if council wants to say something now, they can. They're more than welcome to. Any comments? Councillor Renham?
Thank you, Worship. Just a couple things. I would personally like to thank the chief for two things. I've only had the opportunity to go out of town with personnel from police twice. Once was for a graduation, and the other was to go to the MNR and learn about coyotes. And the former mayor liked to call me the coyote whisperer, but I will say that the chief was there with me, and we learned a lot of things together, and how to mitigate, and what you can do and what we can't do. And we learned a lot that day. And we had a great ride up, a great lunch. And I want to thank you for your kindness and hospitality that day. And ever since then, as he's become the chief, it was never difficult to make a phone call and have a seat in his office and talk about whatever we wanted to talk about. So thank you again for your professionalism, your hospitality, and being the best person for LaSalle for many, many years. And one last thing I'll say, I'm not quite sure, because the guy that went to the coyote training with me was about 130 pounds and about 35 years old. I don't know what happened to you since you took this job, but you don't. Thank you so much.
Councillor Regis-Spagnolo.
Thank you through you to Chief. Just wanted to say thank you very much for your leadership. You've been exceptional for our town and for the police service, as well as it's been wonderful working with you in council as well as on the LaSalle Police Board. So thank you very much, and I truly hope you enjoy your retirement with your grandchildren and your family, and you relax, and I wish you all the best.
Councillor Burns.
Yes, thank you, Chief. I still can remember the Volvo deal back in the days, but I went to your graduation. You were one of the first constables, I think, when I was chairman of the board, or on the board, that I had the opportunity to meet and watch your career grow. So over the years, thank you. I know in that position there's a lot of stress, and your family, of course, it takes the hit for a lot of that. Called out in the middle of the night, whether you were a constable working a case that you had to stay over on, and thanks to your wife for allowing you to do that on our behalf, and many, many years, and enjoy your cottage. God bless you.
Any other comments? Mr. Militia.
Chief Davies, thank you again, and members of council have certainly echoed the sentiments of the community. But again, from the town of LaSalle staff, I want to thank you for your efforts throughout your career, but certainly in the last number of years here in your role as chief. You have done an incredible amount of work of rebuilding the relationship between the town staff, if we will, and the LaSalle Police Service. And that has not gone unnoticed. Being part of our senior leadership team around the department head table, your comments, always quiet, but always to the point, were always well received and appreciated. And we look forward to having Chief Designate Pierce as part of the team, but we will miss you. And he does have some awfully large, even though he's a tall man, he does have some awfully large shoes to fill. So congratulations on your retirement, and please enjoy the next chapter of your life with your family.
Okay. So with that, I only have one other comment to make today, and it's not really that exciting, but it's an important reminder. Property taxes are due Friday, July 26th. So visit our website for more information or contact our finance department if you need any assistance. Move on. We have no public meetings or hearings, no presentations or delegations. We'll go into our staff reports. And item 1 is the Shepherds Drain tender results and award of contract. And we're going to have our drainage superintendent, Mr. McMillan.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. The report before you tonight for the Shepherds Drain is to award the contract to complete the work that was recommended in the drainage report that was adopted by council back on March 12th of this year. The recommended work includes clean out and improvement of the open drain, some culvert maintenance, as well as a drain realignment. The town received 5 bids for the work, with Matassa Inc. submitting the lowest bid of $194,832. This did come in slightly above the engineer's estimate of $178,000, but we consider it to be a reasonable difference. Tender submissions were received by the town and reviewed, as well as reviewed by the drainage engineer, Mr. Gerard Rude, and they were found to be complete and without error. With all that considered, we're recommending the award of the project to Matassa Inc. In the amount of $194,832. And I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Members of council, Councillor Reno?
Thank you, Your Worship. I want to thank you for the email that you sent us explaining the difference in the prices between the tender and what it came back at. I'm just wondering, knowing that residents have seen the schedule and what they were expecting to pay before, what kind of communication plan have we made to let people know why the price is up a little bit and what they should expect? What kind of phone call should we expect?
Yeah, thank you for the question. We did actually recently put out a number of drainage tenders. This one was actually quite reasonable. We came in under the threshold in the Drainage Act to just simply move forward with the project. The other correspondence you received would have been for a different drainage project for the Bassett drain. So there'll be some more to come on that in the coming weeks. But for this one, we were at about 109% of the estimate. In under 133%, we can go ahead and award the tender without any further meetings. But that being said, there will be some further correspondence about the Bassett drain. But for this one, we're confident in awarding this contract to Matassa at the given price.
So is it fair to say that everyone will be paying a little bit more than what they expected?
Yes, slightly more on this one, but within reason. These are also estimates. The final price always comes in after the last invoice is paid. So it is just the bid price, right? And then we end up paying on the actual quantities in the field. So we can be hopeful that we come in a little bit lower. But based on these numbers, everybody will pay slightly more than their anticipated assessment.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? No? There is a recommendation in front of you, is that the report of the drainage superintendent dated June 20th, 2024 regarding the Chappus drain tender results be received, and that council awards the contract to Matassa Inc. for the bid price of $194,832 plus HST, and that this amount be funded from the Town of LaSalle Drainage Capital Account and recovered as per the assessment schedule in the Chappus Drain Report with corresponding bylaw 8823.
Move the recommendation.
Moved by Councillor Burns, support by Councillor Reno. All in favor? That carries. Item 2 is the Marintet Drain request for major improvement. Back to our drainage superintendent.
So this report is in regards to a request that the town received under Section 78 of the Drainage Act for a major improvement of the Marintet drain. The request is for the drainage, a realignment of the drain, to facilitate a potential new development on the land south of Gary Avenue. This potential development is in the very early conceptual stages, but as we're all familiar with, drainage projects can take quite some time, so they wanted to get the ball rolling on that aspect. The Marintet drain has recently been maintained by the town staff. We did some regular flailing on areas in 2022 and in 2021. However, upon inspection of the drain, there does appear to be significant sediment buildup throughout the drain bottom. And additionally, the most recent drainage report we have for this drain is quite out of date, from the late 70s. Based on all the above, the administration is recommending that we accept the request. And by accepting the request, we'll be starting the 30-day period for notifications to the Conservation Authority before we bring us a subsequent report back to council to appoint an engineer for the project.
Councillor Reno?
Thank you. As with previous drainage projects, a lot of times when it benefits specifically a contractor or a developer this way, they tend to take on all the expenses. However, if there's sediment in this drain, I would assume that that will be shared amongst everyone. Is there like a percentage, how does this work? Like, is this going to be on the residents, or is this going to be on the developer, or a blend?
So, thank you for the question. Like you said, if it's a project that's specific to one property, those are always paid for by the proponent of the project, and those usually come in as a minor improvement. For the major improvement like this one, because of the condition of the drain and the older nature of the report, it is very likely that we will expand the project to include an entire major improvement in repair of the drain. If that is the way that we go, the proponent of the development would pay a special assessment for the extra benefit that they receive based on the works included in the realignment, and all other residents would pay a regular assessment. But it would be anything extra that they get, they would pay for. As part of the Drainage Act process, we will also be having an on-site meeting after an engineer is appointed, and at that time, any resident on the drain, they will be invited and notified of the meeting, and at that time, they can bring up any concerns that they have with the drain, and as well as the town, we can also bring up our concerns with the sediment in the bottom, and then the engineer takes these recommendations, and he kind of determines where we will go. But just to be abundantly clear, any special benefit that any property owner received, so the realignment that I mentioned, that would be paid for 100% by that property owner.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? If we didn't receive this request, would we have even considered this drain in the near future? Was this on the block to be done soon?
Yes, absolutely. This is one of our drains that has a lot of buildup. We do repeat maintenance in the area. There's a lot of brush that builds up, so we go in and we spend a lot of time brushing. This would have been near the top of our list. It was actually pretty good timing that we got this request, so we can kind of roll it all into one project. But definitely this was near the top of our list.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Any other comments or questions? No? So the recommendation is that the report of Drainage Superintendent dated June 20, 2024 regarding the request for major improvement to the Marintet Drain be received, and that Council accept the request and authorizes administration to begin the process for a major improvement of the Marintet Drain under Section 78 of the Drainage Act. Moved by Councillor Reno, support Deputy Mayor Capada. All in favor? That carries. Item 3. You're really popular tonight. St. Michael's Drain tender results in award of contract. Our Drainage Superintendent, Mr. McMillan.
So this one is very similar to the report on the Chappus Drain. It's another project that we recently tendered to have the work done that was recommended in the drainage report. This drainage report was adopted by Council back on February 27th of this year. The work recommended includes clean out and improvement of the open drain, culvert maintenance, and replacement of 2 existing culverts. The town received 3 bids to complete the work, with the lowest coming in from Murray Mills Excavating and Trucking, with their lowest bid submitted at $299,850. This bid was approximately 105% of the engineer's estimate, which was $285,000. The tender submissions were reviewed by town staff and the drainage engineer, who's again Gerard Rude for this project. And they were found to be complete and without error. And based on that, we are recommending the award of the project to Murray Mills Excavating and Trucking. So very similar to the Chappus report, we are slightly higher, but within the threshold set out in the Drainage Act to move forward.
Thank you. Councillor Riccio-Spignol.
Thank you, through you. Now, I see the discrepancy in the tenders. Just a question, have we worked with Murray Mills? Because it says they're from Sarnia. Have we worked with them before?
Specifically at the town, we have not. That being said, I did reach out to some other local drainage superintendents, and I did get some feedback on their work. They have successfully completed other Drainage Act projects in Essex County.
Thank you, that's what I wanted to know. Thanks.
I'm surprised actually how close we are coming to the numbers. I mean, 105 or 109, those are still relatively close to what we're projecting. My question is, though, why such a big difference between each company? I mean, even in the last report, the first one we had with the Chappus Drain, like, the numbers being presented are quite different. What is causing that, and is it something that we need to be concerned about at all?
It's difficult to pinpoint exactly why the difference is. If we were to guess, I would say mostly based on contractor availability. This work does need to be completed in certain timing windows based on fish spawning seasons and things like that. So it is kind of a tight window to get the work done. That's why you see so many projects coming out kind of at the same time. So availability is probably the biggest factor. Other municipalities throughout the county, they also have a lot of drains, and there's a lot of Drainage Act tenders that all kind of go in a similar time. So when people are busy, and sometimes they'll throw a higher number at it. But I think that would explain the discrepancy. It's mostly availability.
I appreciate that. It's surprising, you know, seeing 50 to 100,000 more, okay, but like double the price seems a little insane, so, but thank you for the explanation. Any other questions or comments? All right, so the recommendation is that the report of the drainage superintendent dated June 20th, 24, regarding the St. Michael's drain tender results be received, and that council awards a contract to Murray Mills Excavating and Trucking, Sarnia Limited, for the bid price of $299,850,000 plus HST, and that this amount be funded from the Town of LaSalle Drainage Capital Account and recovered as per the assessment schedule of the approved St. Michael's Drain Report with corresponding bylaw 8837. Councillor Burns and Councillor Riccio Spagnolo, all in favor? That carries. Item 4, our Windsor Family Credit Union Financial Services Agreement. Our Director of Finance, Mr. Langlois.
Thanks, Your Worship, members of council. We're just looking for council's authorization to renew the existing financial services agreement with the Windsor Family Credit Union for an additional 5-year term. All the conditions are pretty much the same. There's a couple small differences. One is we will no longer be reimbursed for the POS payment terminals. The credit union no longer has a relationship with that vendor. That would equal maybe a couple $1,000s throughout the year. And then they're also asking that we maintain an exclusive deposit relationship with the credit union. For the past number of years, you know, no other banks have been able to compete with their rates, so we pretty much have had using them exclusively. Just to put that into perspective, last year alone, between all of our bank accounts, we earned $6.6 million of revenue. We have in the past looked at other financial institutions. You know, they constantly, every month I ask them, they send me their best rates without locking in. You know, we're liquid. We can use the funds, take them out to use as we please versus having to lock them in for a long period of time. So we do have a great relationship with the credit union. It's been working out well the past 23 years. So I'd be happy to answer any questions council has.
Thank you. Members of council, any questions or comments? Pretty straightforward. Okay. Recommendations that the report of Director of Finance dated June 18th, 2024 regarding the Windsor Family Credit Union Financial Services Agreement be received, and that council authorizes the renewal of the financial services agreement with Windsor Family Credit Union based on the continuation of the existing agreement for an additional 5-year term, and that council authorizes the Director of Finance and Treasurer to prepare and sign all necessary agreements. Moved by Councillor Desjardins, support by Councillor Riccio Spagnolo. All in favor? And that is carried. Our consent agenda has 2 items. If anyone wants to pull anything out and speak to it, let me know. Otherwise, we can move it together. Nothing? All right. To a motion to receive. Councillor Reno, Deputy Mayor Capata, all in favor? And that carries. Committee matters, there's 1 item, which is the Essex County Council highlights from the June 19th meeting, and we're just getting, I don't know if there's anything, questions or comments for it. If not, we can just receive those. Councillor Burns, Councillor Reno, all in favor? And that carries. Questions and statements by council members. Deputy Mayor Capata.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to maybe Mr. Mara. My favorite invasive weed has raised its head in another municipality, and they've reached out to see if we can get a regional solution for dealing with Phragmites. They were very proactive in dealing with it, and I just wanted to ask if this other municipality goes down this regional road in Phragmites elimination, to make sure that the town of LaSalle is at least having those discussions with our co-joined municipalities, and that should something happen, that we have representation at the table so the information can come back. So I'm not sure, sir, if you're aware of anything that's been stood up yet. It is a newspaper article reporting on a meeting that took place, but I'm sure that through your channels that you might already have some information that we could share so I can keep the public aware of us working with the upper tier to deal with this invasive weed.
Thank you for the question. We actually have the right staff here tonight to pass this information on to. Certainly, with respect to Phragmites, Mr. McMillan through Mr. Capucci deal with a lot of the drainage information, and through the drainage superintendents, they have a lot of that type of information. So Mr. McMillan will certainly be part of those conversations and keeping track of what municipalities are doing and if there's any cooperation between any of them to deal with Phragmites.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Then just to pass on the information I have, I'll send it to Mr. Marr, and he can share it appropriately. In that way, staff are aware what's going on in other municipalities if they don't already have the finger on the pulse. Thank you, Your Worship.
Any other questions or statements? No? We had no notices of motion, or do we have any notices of motion? I should ask. I guess I should ask it. We didn't have a closed session, so I'll go into our bylaws. And that's the following bylaws be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed. 8896, a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 8600, the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw as amended. 8897, a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between Matassa Inc. and the Corporation of the Town of LaSalle for the Chappus Drain improvements. 8899, a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between Murray Mills Excavating and Trucking Sarnia Limited and the Corporation of the Town of LaSalle for the St. Michael's Drain improvements. And finally, 8900, a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 8600, the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw as amended. Councilor Riccio Spagnolo, Councilor Desjardins, all in favor? And that is carried. Our confirmatory bylaw is 88901, be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed. Councilor Burns, Councilor Riccio Spagnolo, all in favor? That carries. There is a schedule of meetings below. Thank you for joining us in person and online. Have a good night.